Fáilte Rómha Cóide, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the programme. Well, last week we brought you part one of a two-part programme to mark the 40th anniversary of the Siamsa Sráide Street and Arts Festival, which, by the way, takes place in the town of Swinford every August. People gathered in the Gateway Hotel to share their memories and stories in a special commemorative evening, which also included snapshots of past events through photography and archive material. So this evening, we're bringing you part two.
Another lady who's doing an awful lot of work for Siamsa Sráide and particularly for the railway players. This is Anne Hanno. So Anne, give a warm welcome to Anne, please.
Thanks very much.
So you've also been running some workshops this week, particularly with Catherine Noon. So what have you been doing this week up in the Finance?
Yeah, so this week we've had a musical theatre workshop, and it was for children from the age of 7 upwards. And the only way I can describe those children is exceptional. They have been absolutely amazing to work with. They listened, they sang, they danced, they acted, they made costumes, and they're putting on a performance on Monday at 5 o'clock in the Cultural Centre. And I would strongly advise anybody, whether you have a child involved or not, come along and see the work that they have put in. They had a wonderful tutor in Catherine, and Marianne and Orla were there as well to give a hand. But the kids were brilliant. They were absolutely superb.
And of course tomorrow night you've got a big event going on up in the Julians of Midfield. I mean, you've taken the old format of the talent show that was always on the street and you've kind of elevated it into a much bigger event.
One of my fondest memories from Siamsa, as Maureen said, was the busking competition. And seeing people out in the street and seeing them performing, it kind of sparked an interest in me as a child that kind of fed into what I wanted to do as an adult and give people a platform where they could come out and perform for themselves and for the public. There's people that have talents that don't know how to show them off and how to get a name for themselves. So we came up with this plan 3 years ago. This will be our 3rd year running Time to Shine. We have 11 superb acts that are going to take to the stage tomorrow night in Julian's. It's starting at 8 o'clock, doors are at 7. We have bands, we have dancers, we have singers, so there's something there for everybody. It's going to be a great night.
That's perfect. Thank you, Anne, very much.
No problem.
Thanks for tomorrow. Take care. Thank you. Now, of course, Swinford GA is involved in there's an awful lot of work in the Swinford community, and of course they're doing events here tomorrow. And to talk about their association with Siamsa Sráide, we have Dougie Kelly here. Dougie, how are you?
Good, Brendan.
Now, Dougie, you've been involved with Siamsa Sráide for many years.
For many years now, we used to run the Siamsa Shape Hill on the Friday nights of Siamsa, where we'd have an Irish international star playing up at the church. Frankie Gavin and the Darnan started it, and I think the last act we had was Phil Coulter. A number of years ago, we had Paul Brady, and even our own late Conor Welch played support to Paul Brady in the church.
Yeah. And of course, another well-known fellow who started off his career in Siamsa, you brought him back a couple of years ago, Tommy Fleming.
Yes, Tommy, who bussed here, I don't know, the original year, one of the original years, and he played up in the church there a number of years ago to a full house.
And of course, Tommy actually sent us a video message. I think Moira has it there.
Hi there, Siamsa Sráide, my friends. Congratulations on your 40 years. It's hard to believe it's 40 years, and what an achievement that has been for all of you that have been involved. Siamsa Sráide have played a huge part in my career as a young 17, 18 year old, winning the pub talent competition and been part of the busking competition. Carved what I would only describe as a great milestone and a great foundation for me. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight, but congratulations again, and here's to another 40. Thank you for everything you did in my career, and take care.
I'm going to ask the young trooper herself. She's a great ambassador for young people in Swinford, Michaela Walsh, to come up here and have a quick chat. Now, Michaela, you launched back in June the 40th programme. I know you have huge memories of Siamsa Sráide, so any particular moment that stands out for you?
I suppose I was very lucky. My family would have always been really involved in Siamsa, so I would have got involved in the road races, as Odette has mentioned, talent shows, dancing on the streets, camps, heritage days, just involved in everything and just been part of Swinford and just been on the main street as a youngster was a big deal. So yeah, Siamsa has a lot of memories.
And I know when we spoke here last week and we were talking about the Siamsa, one of the stuff you were always talking about was your granny Annie Welsh, who was a legendary character. I remember she used to be seen on the streets at 4 in the morning during Siamsa, what you call it, when we used to be in security, and you said she had great memories of Siamsa Sráide, didn't she?
Yeah, a very special woman to us all, but especially to me. If anyone knows my nan, I was stuck in her hip from the minute I was born, you could say. So yeah, my nan brings special memories to Siamsa, sitting in the bus listening to music. She loves Swinford, she would do anything for anybody, and again, Siamsa was a big thing. We went on holidays every August, and Nan loved to be on holidays, but the one main rule was we couldn't go during Siamsa because she just loved it so much, and she was just, yeah, amazing woman.
And Michaela, do you have any competitions coming up now later this year or in the fall?
Yeah, so unfortunately I got struck with every sports person's nightmare the day before I was meant to be travelling to the Europeans, and I got hit with an injury. So unfortunately that wiped my summer season, but I was very lucky. I'm surrounded by a very good sport group in my mum and my coach. So the plans are back in action. I'm back to training this week, and yeah, I'm looking at the Europeans next year in Madrid, and it's all going at the moment.
Well, I think Tom said it best, that you're a great ambassador for young people in Swinford, and listen, you've done your family and yourself and all of us very proud. And again, thank you for launching the 40th. The reason why we picked Michaela was, as Breach kept saying, that Siamsa Sráide was launched in International Youth Year, and who better than to launch the 40th than one of the most well-known youngsters we have now in Swinford at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Now, Swinford Pat, it's your moment. Come on up here. This is Pat Moore with Swinford Cruisers. Now, Pat, tell us about the cruisers. You've got a gig coming up on Monday, don't you?
We do indeed, yeah. It's the children's cycle, the family fun cycle, staged from the car park for safety reasons. We used to hold it outside the hotel for years and years. But we moved it up there for safety reasons, and starts at 12:30. The overall idea is to have something for the little ones, right down to the little trikes. So anybody that's got small, little tiny tots, bring them. Bring the little trikes. Bring the wheelbarrow. Do you know what I mean? Put the toy into it. The idea is we bring them from the barracks down the town, around the town, and back up to the playground, and then we give them a couple of little baggies of naughty things like sweets and whatever. And do you know what I mean? It's a great event.
I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
And Pat, you've been involved for many years. Like any particular moment or highlight or personal moment for you that sticks out? There's
lots. I really enjoyed the opening speech by Kevin Hinnigan. I was there at day one. I remember it, and I loved the way when he said, you know, he just wanted to create something in the community that was fun and, you know, just something, you know, out of the ordinary, like relaxed and something good. And, you know, several of us, and including Maureen Noon, in fairness to her, who's been heavily involved, and I mean heavily involved. The thing is that it's fantastic. It's also fantastic to see such a huge crowd here tonight. And, you know, we'd have to, one thing, I would love if we could remember and acknowledge the amount of people who were part of Siamsa down through the years, but who cannot be here tonight.
Absolutely. And Pat, you've another event coming up in August. I know there's another special.
We have a lovely event with the cooperation of some of the business people in town and Swinford Cruises again. We created another event for the little ones and the entire family, Teddy Bear's Walk and Picnic. And, you know, I don't know how he's going to survive, but Joe Mellett came up with the idea, let them wash the teddy bears as well. So I thought, well, you can deal with the parents after
you've got that coming up, is it on the August Culture Show
weekend? Yeah. And the idea is to make a weekend of it, of activities in you know, while the show is on the Sunday, we'd be on the Saturday.
Of course. Listen, Pat, thank you very much, and good luck on Monday. I'll see you up in the street, okay? Thank you very much, Pat. Back in January, we received a very interesting email from a lady who had a great story to tell about her mother. And this is about Rory Cook. She was originally from Swinford. She left in the 1950s, and she started a new life for herself over in the UK. But Rory has since passed, not long after, during COVID. But her daughter, Belinda, has written a book about her, and her son has also done a documentary called We're Not Making Gone with the Wind. And what drew Siamsa Sráide's attention to this specific documentary was the fact that it was about an Irish woman, but it was shown in the UK and the US, and it's won many awards, but it's never been screened in Ireland. So Swinford will be the first one, screening this tomorrow up in the courthouse. So here's a warm welcome to Belinda Cook. Absolutely. So Belinda, just give us a brief summary of the documentary.
Right, well, my brother interviewed her in the summer before she died, and then he was always trying to get her to tell her story, and she finally did, and after she died, he put it all together. So it basically takes her from coming back to Ireland after during the Second World War, when the kids came back because of the fact they were going to be sent from the city. So she came back, and then she had the experience of growing up through the 40s and the lack of educational opportunities, and then the fact that everybody had to leave. And she and many other people all ended up in Mayo, and then met people in Mayo, and then made a life for themselves there. And so it's all the memories of her community life here before she left, and then the opportunities they took during the 50s. That she just talks you through the story, really. You're just sitting in a room listening to her telling her story. Simple as that, really.
And we're going to have the premiere tomorrow at 11 o'clock at the Courthouse.
Yeah.
Now, it's a 40-minute documentary, and the Courthouse, I think most people can only accommodate about 40 at a time, but we're going to be screening it every hour, starting from 1 o'clock right up to 6 o'clock. So we encourage all of you at various times to come and see this documentary.
Yeah, because he was well educated, although he wasn't schooling, but he would have been. It was nowadays he'd be a professor.
Fáilte, you're very welcome back to part 2 of the programme as we continue our celebrations of the 40th anniversary of the Siamsa Sráide Festival.
Ladies and gentlemen, Breach, fantastic trailer, and I was going to see it in the cinema. Now, Breach, why did you do the film?
I was talking to a guy called Tom Oliver from my home village in Ishnabroad, and he told me he threw away all his archives in the film, and that was 10 years ago, and I was absolutely heartbroken because that's our heritage.
Heritage, of course.
That's our heritage, that's our folklore, and that's basically where we came from. So that's 10 years ago that I heard that story, and 9 years ago I decided that I would archive Swinford's memories, and from that I have developed All Our Yesterdays.
And Breach, who is the film targeted towards, marketed towards?
To be honest with you, it's a film for us all. This film is about our community. So a synopsis of what the film is about is basically the story of Ireland over the last 250 years since the penal times right through to present day, and that's the story told by the people of Swinford for the people to the world, for the whole world. So we need to know where we came from, and Swinford is telling us that story. So from all the historical events, from the famine to the Civil War to the War of Independence, right through to music and culture and heritage to the Siamsa Sráide for the last 40 years. I've been involved in Siamsa by archiving a lot of the, over the years I used to film here, and that first clip.
The first clipping in 1993, the 1993 footage that was done, edited by Breach, so it was first, yeah.
Some of the footage was mine, and Kevin, I can't think his last name.
Conway.
And again, like if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have those memories. And that's what this film is all about.
We have another important event that's taking place in Swinford National School on Monday at 2 o'clock. Now, a lot of work has went into this project, and that is the Revolutionary Women of East Mayo and South Sligo. Now, this was a project done by Anne Layden and her students in St. Joseph's Community College over in Charlestown. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anne Layden, please. Thank you. So, Anne, tell us this project. How did it start off?
Well, I suppose this project started, it's nearly 3 years ago now. There has been new releases of files in the Irish Military Archives, and as a class group we were researching them, and it became very evident early on that there was a lot of local involvement.
Swinford here, yeah.
Swinford, Charlestown, Kilkelly, over to Tubacurry, and local names and townlands began to crop up. And what was very striking was the number of local women involved. So, of course, in a school you have access to a lot of people in the community. So we took advantage of that, and the students went home and they asked, do you know someone from this townland, or are they related to us? And very quickly the information started to come back, and we were looking for photos initially. That was one of the objectives, that we said that we will try and put a face to the name of all this information and bring these women to life. And there had been no recorded history of them. So we set about with 3 women initially, and now we have a profile of nearly 30 women in our exhibition, and they're featured on large pull-up banners like you see here, and it really does bring history to life. And just as well as that, we were very privileged in that we had members of the Mayo Genealogy Group who worked very closely with us. And without them, they put us on the right track to find out the families, and we've worked very closely with families for the last number of years, and a lot of them are coming back to Swinford on Monday to hear the stories.
Well, thank you for all the work you've done in bringing over to Swinford. We're very grateful. Thank you very much. Thanks for staying with me in part 2. I hope I didn't let you down. So I'm going to hand over to the true host, Henry McGlade.
So we're joined by our final panel of guests, and of course needs no introduction, Bríd O'Connell and Brendan Cassidy, and we also have with us from the Hamilton Flute Band from Derry, Northern Ireland. We have Stephen Williamson, who's the chairman of the Flute Band, and also Tim Carnes, who's secretary. I suppose, Bríd, everybody will be wondering, how did this come about, this connection between the Hamilton Flute Band and Derry and Swinford?
To start off with, somebody from Swinford, and I think it was Seamus Greeny, put an article or put something in the paper, one of the kind of national papers, saying that this festival was on in Swinford and that it would be nice if we had bands from the north of Ireland. That's now my perception of it. Immediately, of course, I kind of cottoned on to it, and in 1995, the strength of the ceasefire in Ulster was, of immense potential, and especially for cross-border tourism and friendships as well, which we didn't really have much of. I was lucky myself when I was young that I had been in the north at that. Our committee then went about deciding to have a visit from the Hamilton Flute Band, who applied amongst others, and because they were the oldest band that applied, they had been established in 1856. I had to keep these figures in front of me in case I'd forget it, but they had established, and they could play both classical and popular music.
And then you took, Brendan, if you take it up from there then, you went to Derry then yourselves, 2019.
Well, Bríd was always on about every year wanting to bring them back, and we felt the reason why we chose 2019 was because Swinford 250 was prominent that year, and Siamsa Sráide was listed as the flagship event. So Cahill and Bríd Rowley, who were on the Super 250 committee at the time, were kind of pushing a lot of clubs and organisations to really work together and go all out for the 250th anniversary of Swinford. And of course, that was the year that I think poor Theresa May was trying to get the Brexit deal done by March. They're supposed to be leaving, and there was a lot of talk about borders and different stuff. So if there was ever a time to to reconnect those relationships, it was in 2019. So we sent a message to Tim, who was the band secretary at the time, and they agreed to come down. And we went up to Derry, was it on 2 separate occasions, and we met with them, and we got photographs taken at the Peace Bridge and the Hands Across the Divide Monument. And we met the mayor, of Derry at the time was Michaela Boyle, so she was very supportive towards the whole project.
Were you nervous, guys, the fact that a whole 60 of you were coming down to Swinford, the first occasion now? What was the general feeling amongst the band?
In 1995, I was here, I was only about 21 at that time, so it probably was a nervous time for most of us coming down, but we went with it. We come down. We were just chatting the way down the bus. A few of the girls were saying some of the shops had welcomed the Hamilton Flute Band from London Derry written on it, which I think was a big step forward for the people of Swinford. But whenever we went back up, the following week was the 12th of August, which we do march on the 12th of August. There was a few slide marks, from not a lot, but a few people saying, oh, there's the Swinford Flute Band coming now, and but we moved on from that. There's a lot of other bands that went over the borders now, over on the south, and played in Limerick and Weeping and Moville ourselves, playing in the St Patrick's Day Parade.
The work that Siamsa have done in cooperation with the Hamilton Pipe Band, the cross-border initiative, was a wonderful initiative, and one of the first in the west of Ireland to undertake such a project, and you've been rewarded for that. You've received a number of awards for your great work and great cooperation between both sides.
Both mayors, Michaela Boyle and Lillian Carver, have both awarded both clubs.
All right, as I said, we've one more item before we finish. And as you know, Siamsa is celebrating 40 years. We mentioned it enough time, but we couldn't let the occasion go by without making some kind of little gesture to mark the occasion. So we've asked Michaela Walsh. She's here somewhere, I think. Oh yes, here she is. After three, a hey, a no, a three, wow! Wonderful. That's a lovely cake as well.
It's just a year ago today I left dear Ireland's Isle. My heart was throbbing in the soft light of my Colleen's smile. In all my dreams, to sing her sweet voice soft and low. I know she's waiting where we said goodbye in old Mayo. For two Irish eyes are shining, and an Irish heart is fighting.
We hope you enjoyed the memories and stories of 40 years of the Siamsa Sráide Festival, and of course the evening wouldn't be complete without a special cake to mark this milestone. Well, congrats once again to all the local people who over the years ensured the success of this great festival. Now don't forget you can watch the full programme on our TV Ireland YouTube channel. So until next week at the same time, slán go fóill.